Welcome to the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast. My name is Bill Moore. I am the founder of Food Truck Training Group on Facebook. I'm co-owner with my wife, Melissa, of our own food truck. It's called Food Truck 101. And I'm the executive director of the National Street Food Vendors Association, which is a nonprofit dedicated to education, advocacy, and uplifting all food truck vendors. Today, though, I'm going to be talking about the top 5 pieces of equipment that every beginner food truck should consider when they're starting their food truck journey. But before I get into that topic, I want to remind you guys about the Food Truck Owners Expo coming up in Houston, Texas this year, July 29th and 30th. I'm going to be giving 2 different topics, one on creating a profitable menu, the second is on marketing in the off-season. After those 2 classes are concluded, I'll be out on the main expo floor in a little area that they're calling the Campfire Networking Lounge, where you guys can sit down and talk to me or ask any questions that you have. Or if you don't have any questions, you can listen to me talk about a whole bunch of different subjects. I got a whole list of things I'm going to be talking about. So please come to the Food Truck Owners Expo. If you're going to join us in Houston, again, that's July 29th and 30th of this year, go to ftoexpo.com and order your tickets today. When you do order your tickets, put in the code FTTG15 for a 15% discount. I want to take a moment to thank Table Needs for sponsoring this episode of the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast. Table Needs is a full-service POS system capable of handling your busy food truck cash needs, credit card needs, and reporting needs. Check out the link in the description for more information about Table Needs and a link to a little freebie they're giving away on writing an operations manual for your food truck. So the topic at hand today, the top 5 pieces of equipment that I think you should consider if you're going to be getting into being a successful food truck. So the very first piece of equipment everyone should consider is a griddle or a flat top, whatever you want to call it. Some people even call it a grill. A grill technically is what you use outside that has the little grates on it. So a griddle is a smooth, flat surface made out of stainless steel, could be made out of chrome, could be also made out of cast iron. Most people use a stainless steel one. Stainless steel is easier to clean. But in any case, the reason you want to consider a griddle is it can do more than just cook hamburger patties or cook meats like a Philly cheesesteak. You can use a griddle to cook pancakes and eggs. You can set it at different temperatures so that you can cook a variety of different kind of foods. You can cook veggies on it. You can cook really anything that you want on a flat top. If you can put it into a frying pan or a skillet, you can cook it on a flat top. Now here's the thing, a flat top is versatile because you can also use it as a heat source for a frying pan or a skillet or a pot. You can also put a pan of water on it, set it at a relatively low temperature, and create a steam table to where you can put other pans sitting there. I personally would rather have a larger flat top than have a smaller flat top and then 2 burners or 4 burners, because you become limited in what you can do with those 4 burners, because 4 burners represents 4 pots. Flat top, you could put multiple pots and still be able to cook hamburgers and other kind of foods that normally go onto a flat top. So a griddle is a very important appliance, and you'll see that in many, many food trucks. The second appliance, a deep fryer. A couple things I want to tell you about a deep fryer. There is maintenance involved with a deep fryer because a deep fryer is always on. It's always heating. That means there's always grease-laden vapors going up into the air. So you're going to have a hood system to pull those vapors out of your food truck. And even with a hood system, those vapors are going to float all through your food truck and make things greasy. So you're going to be wiping down equipment a lot more frequently. You're going to have a little bit more cleaning to do just in general. And then also the fryer itself has to be cleaned. And that can be a time-consuming process, especially for new folks. Just to give you a goal to work towards, we had 4 fryers at one point, and I could filter and clean all 4 fryers in about 45 minutes. And give that as a goal for yourself to hopefully get faster than Bill was. But the things that you can do with a deep fryer, you can cook French fries. You can cook all kind of foods that have any kind of breading or coating on them. Tempura, you can cook donuts. You can cook fried cheese sticks. All different kind of things you can do. Corn dogs, elephant ears as they call them, or the funnel cakes. All that stuff can be cooked in a deep fryer. Lots of choices. But what you got to consider, though, is neutral foods like French fries, for instance, can't be cooked in the same fryer where you're cooking fish because it'll pick up the fish flavor. Anytime you cook a protein in a fryer, it leaches out fats, and the fats is where flavor is. And when it leaches out those fats, now the shortening has taken on that fat flavor, even though it's highly diluted because of the shortening that's in there. It still is able to be picked up by people with a very discerning palate. So if you're going to get into deep frying, understand what you're going to be cooking, and you may not be able to cook as much as you think you can in a deep fryer. Also understand how deep fryers are numbered. You'll have a 30-pound, a 40-pound, a 50-pound, 70-pound, 100-pound fryers. What that means in general is you take that number, so let's say a 50-pound fryer. Typically that represents the amount of food that fryer can produce in weight over the course of an hour. So it would make sense for it to be 50 pounds, but it's not. What it means is it will cook about 1.5 times that number. So a 50-pound fryer means it has more volume of shortening in it. It's also got a higher BTU count, and it also will cook about 75 pounds of food in 1 hour. So that becomes a limiter. 75 pounds of fries is a lot of French fries. And if you're able to sell 75 pounds of fries in an hour, you're doing great. But remember, if you're selling 75 pounds worth of fries in that fryer, you're at its max. That means you're not able to cook chicken wings or anything else in that fryer. So understand what a fryer does. You're also going to need equipment to help yourself filter it and to keep the shortening clean, because shortening is a cost. We don't want to drive the cost up because we don't take care of the shortening. I got a couple of different podcasts on the things you need to do to understand how to filter a fryer and have a good cost control over that shortening. Convection oven. A convection oven is a great addition to a typical food truck because it cooks food more evenly than just a regular oven. Convection means it's got a fan in it to circulate the hot air. So it also cooks a little bit faster as well. It's perfect for baking or roasting, broiling even. And if you have the right kind of pan, you can even do some types of grilling in it. We cook biscuits in our convection oven. We also cook our bacon and our sausage in that oven. It's a little bit easier on us to control the quality when we cook it in a convection oven. You can use it to roast meats. You can use it to prepare casseroles. You can use it to brown cheeses on mac and cheese, for example. There's a variety of different things you can do with a convection oven, and they make them now to where they're relatively small and also relatively inexpensive. You can get one that holds half-size sheet pans, and that just tells you how much food that you can cook. But a convection oven is a good asset to have. It also helps you in those little times of crisis. A food processor. It's appliance number 4 if you're keeping track. A food processor helps you to cut veggies and helps you to puree and slice and dice and all kinds of different food preparation methods. It's a good piece of equipment to have if you do coleslaw, if you cut a lot of onions, if you cut any kind of vegetable. It helps the process to go faster. Because remember, food service is all about speed. The faster you can get through the prep, the quicker you're able to start selling. And if you're doing your own fresh foods, a food processor becomes super important. The quality difference between you doing the prep on your food truck and you buying pre-prepped veggies is amazing. It is night and day difference. Take something as basic as coleslaw. You can buy cabbage that's already chopped, but you've already lost some of the quality. Because remember, they chopped it probably yesterday, maybe even 2 days ago, before you ever bought it. And now you're turning it into coleslaw, so you've lost some shelf life just by buying something that's already been prepped by somebody else. And if they add ingredients to extend the shelf life, like Fruit Fresh, for example, Fruit Fresh has a taste. And you're going, but I can't taste it. You can taste it, you just don't recognize it. Go to Taco Bell, order a taco. Taste their lettuce. It has Fruit Fresh on it that has a distinctive taste. And some people don't care for that taste. I personally don't. I would rather have fresh lettuce than lettuce that's been processed with Fruit Fresh or whatever brand it is that they use. All Fruit Fresh does is retard the particular vegetable that it's applied to from turning brown. And there are natural ways to do that. But again, even the natural ways add on flavor, and you may not want that flavor added on. But a food processor, very important appliance, something you should consider. Now, here's an interesting one. I talked about burners a little bit ago, especially a propane burner, but you can get an induction burner. Induction burners are energy efficient. They heat up really quickly, and they give you precise temperature control. We have an induction burner on our food truck. Melissa uses it to cook the eggs that people might ask for, over easy eggs. This morning when I went over to the food truck to get some breakfast, Melissa was cooking some over easy eggs on that induction burner. She also cooks a lot of our other products using that induction burner because, again, it's fast, it's efficient, and it doesn't throw off as much heat as when you're using a propane burner. You will find in the summertime, every possible way to reduce the heat is a good thing because it's going to get hot on the food truck as it is. So an induction burner helps you. Plus, they're portable. You can pick it up and move it so that it's not always in your way. We like the induction burner because we have a relatively small kitchen and it is cram-packed with equipment. Melissa will move the induction burner when she needs space. Consider an induction burner. So there you have it. There's the 5 appliances I think that you should consider for a food truck owner. There's a lot of variety that can be cooked with these very basic, very generic pieces of equipment. Now, of course, if you're into specialty foods, you can get all different manner of equipment that are designed for those specialty foods, a wok, for example. But these are the 5 basics. You're going to find them on most food trucks in some way, shape, or form. So as you're planning out your menu, because remember, that's step 2, as far as getting your food truck business up and operational. The very first thing is research all of the rules and regulations in your area. Number 2 is to develop that menu so you can understand the cost relationship with all of your ingredients, but also part of developing that menu is what equipment do I need to store the food, to prep the food, to cook the food, and to hold the food. All of those could be different pieces of equipment. You got to consider that at the menu planning stage. So that way you know how big of equipment you're going to need. Very, very important to consider all the different types of equipment. So thank you guys so much for tuning in today. I do appreciate you guys listening to the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast. Take a moment to follow our podcast, and if you really like what we do, support us. There are links in the description where you can give us a one-time donation or a ongoing donation to support. Every little bit does help keep us going. Until next time, you guys have a profitable day.